Hello everyone. I'm tired of explaining the problems with dating methods in text to every single person that replies, so I'm going to make a video. I'm just going to point you here. So watch this video. This is my rant on dating methods. Now, every single time I'm in a debate on YouTube, which is questionable how smart that is, just because YouTube is just not a place for logic to exist, it seems. They always point out that the Earth is, how many billion years old, or this fossil is 60 million years old, or blah, 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 blah. It's question. Yeah. So how do we know that? Okay, let's take a step back. Now they're told that in various textbooks, and that date's always changing as well. But they're told that and they believe it. Okay, and one thing, no matter who says it, no matter what, but for me, from anyone else, do some research. Don't just take blatant things and just accept it. We're not sheeple. We have a brain. Let's use it. Okay, so they're going through dating methods. Now, I personally question the validity of a lot of dating methods. The reason is because logically they don't seem to work out quite well. They go on way too many assumptions. So let's start with some of the basic dating methods. We have radioactive dating. That's a common one. Not the only one, but a common dating method. And basically how that works is that you have a starting point, either an atom or an isotope or something like that. And if you know how long it takes for that to either decay or split into these different atoms through decay, then you can estimate the time in between. So say if you have atom A, that's an isotope of say 8, just throwing out a number there for just example's sake, and you know it takes 10 days to to have a half-life, then if you know that it started out with say 8, and now it's at 2, you can assume that it's 20 days old because half-life for 10 days before and then another to 2. And of course there's all other dating methods that also split, say if you start with this, over time will split into these two atoms here, so if you can measure the ratio from that to that, as long as you know the beginning, you can estimate the date. Here's the problem though, is that you don't know the beginning. Now you can make assumptions, but there's a lot of different things that can affect you don't know the variables, all the different information for it. So let's take carbon for instance. So carbon dating is not as much used as much, but it's one of the dating methods. Basically it measures the isotope decay of carbon. Now an atom is made up of electrons, neutrons, and protons. Okay. Now protons and electrons always stay the same, but neutrons, which is the neutral value, can vary. Okay, that's called the isotope value. You can have a carbon with, say, I'm just going to throw a number because I don't want to look up right now. Say it has 10 neutrons. You can have one that has 8 neutrons, and that's its isotope. And they estimate that over 5,000 years, it'll have a half-life. So in essence, in 5,000 years from point A to point B, a half number of neutrons, and again, I'm just throwing out the numbers there, get the concept, not the exact numbers. So, they do radioactive dating on this object, and they say, well, it has this state right now, and we're going to assume that this is the beginning, so we're going to estimate the time in between. Okay, that's the thing though, you don't know the beginning. You can't make an accurate date assessment without the beginning part. Plus, you don't know of any inputs and outputs. Now, an atom doesn't exactly have a timestamp on it. It's not like you have an atom here and it says, I am 50 million years old. An atom just exists as electrons, protons, and neutrons. Okay, so that's one thing that I always struggle with. Now, there's a huge difference between historical science and actual science. I'm not saying historical science, doesn't have its place and stuff, but you cannot make facts out of historical science. It's assumptions. Okay, I'm sorry, as much as you'd like to state that this is a fact, unless you have a time machine, you have no means of testing that and knowing for sure. You can simulate, you can do other things, and that's good, but you don't know for sure. Okay, I'm not saying there's no validity, but if you're going to make an absolute statement, as so many people have made absolute statements that this is this many years old, and you're an idiot for not agreeing, well, that just doesn't seem logical to me to say that you're an idiot for not believing something that I take to be a fact when it's only historical science. Now, there's other things that are out there as well that just kind of make me question a little bit, and they often will bypass these. Well, for instance, let's take a look at dinosaur fossils. Okay, so they dated this dinosaur is 60 million years old. Well, I mean, there's some things that kind of don't make sense with that. Recently, they discovered a dinosaur bone that still had marrow, which is not fossilized. It was actually marrow, blood cells and everything. Actually, they were able to determine that it was a pregnant female dinosaur, which is kind of funny. So this survived, okay? And I was reading an article, and I think it was Discovery.com or something like that. And it's hilarious because it just reeked of desperation. But everywhere in there, it's like, well, we don't know how exactly it survived for 60 million years, but we'll figure that out. And it definitely is 60 million years old. And like search find 60 million, and like all over just kept on reassuring people that yes, this is 60 million years old. Don't be confused. This is 60 million. Don't let the creationists hijack it. This is 60 million years old. Even though biological matter doesn't seem to survive that long. You know, I mean, even fossilized. I mean, this wasn't like a fossilized cell. This is still a red blood cell. I mean, shriveled up, of course, but you know, you get my point. So that kind of, you know, just what do you do with that? Now, the other dating method they use is kind of linked into the geological column theory, and that's where you have the different time periods, the Creation period, you know, all the different ones, and they estimate that for each period was between this many years. You know, so this is between now and 50 billion or 50,000 years old. This is 50,000 to 100,000, things like that, and they put their, you know, fossils and dinosaurs in there. Well, the theory originated in about 1785. Now that's kind of far back there, and by that time they didn't even have proper methods of dating, even with radioactive. I mean, I could be wrong. I'd have to take a look at when radioactive dating started to really become popular, but weren't exactly, you know, a technological giant back then, 1785. So, but what they did is they took a fossil, and the person literally put a date to the fossil, saying, well, this fossil here is 50 million years old. So if you find this fossil, the dirt it's in is 50 million years old, because that's when, you know, it existed, without knowing any means of when it actually existed. And of course, the dating methods can't really know for sure. And it's kind of funny because even some of the fossils that they put, they actually found living examples of these creatures in like the rainforest in South America. So like, you know, this is a 10 million year old, you know, creature or whatnot, but we still find it alive today. I guess evolution hasn't caught up to it. So that's one thing. And now the other thing is then they'll use that type of logic to date other things. So if they don't know how old an object is, they find a fossil, they say, well, that fossil is 60 million years old, so this object is also 60 million years old because it's with the fossil. Okay, but again, you don't know when the fossil is. You know, they judge the date of the object by the dirt it's in, and then they judge the dirt by the date of the object. It's like a circular logic type of thing. And of course, you don't account for the various major events in history. You know, I mean, when Mount St. Helens blew, literally the dirt layers over, and the layers got all messed up. You know, and so it's seemingly the exact same type of thing that we see with an explosion. You know, where there's a dam that broke and it cut through dirt, and they found the same type of things. There's trees that when Mount St. Helens blew that were buried in layers of mud, you know, that simulated what we see. In fact, that's another thing that kind of bugs me, is there's things called Sierra fossil trees through layers. Sorry, I forgot the term. Polystrate fossils. Now, polystrate fossils are fossils that extend through various layers of strata. So they have some trees that extend through thousands of years of layers of dirt. And of course, they explain that there's rapid sedimentation, means that dirt moved very fast, and of course buried the tree as it was standing upright, and you know, thus it exists through many layers. Well, why wouldn't that happen for fossils? So to say that a fossil is 10 million years old because it's in this layer, yet a tree extends through all these layers, and oh, the tree just sank down. You know, that's an easy one. The fossil was there when the dirt was laid, definitely, no question about it. You know, so it just doesn't rhyme well with me whatsoever. So that's what my problem is that one, people are taking historical science and it's labeling it as fact. Now we can, you know, again, take good estimations, but if you're going to tell me that this is that, unless you have a time machine, you know, you can say, I believe it is, and I believe the evidence points to it. But to say it is fact and you're an idiot for not agreeing with what I've been told, you know, it just reeks of sheepleness, you know. Meh. You know, you tell me it's this old and I will proclaim it as this old and not question it at all. That's what frustrates me, is that we have brains. Let's use them a little bit. That's my little rant. So if you want to take a look, and I totally encourage you, take a look at the dating methods. Think logically down to how things work, and question a little bit. How do you know how it started? How do you know the different things that involve in between, which you don't really know? How do we know some of these half-lives? Because again, it says it's constant half-life, and this has a half-life of 10,000 years and decays or whatnot. We haven't been able to test that. We haven't started with one that just decayed and waited for the 1,000 years to see it decay again. There's stats and stuff, but you don't know. So you're going off a lot of assumptions and basing your entire worldview over these assumptions. Okay? So that's my rant. Hope it helped some people. And again, if you still want to believe that the Earth is 60 million years old and everything, or how many billion years old and dinosaurs are 60 million years old, God bless you. But don't proclaim it as absolute truth that we honestly don't know. And there's a lot of stuff that they haven't really explained well. And there's a lot of things that are questionable, like I said, the fossil that had marrow in it, the trees that are upright, and things like that. So, anyways, hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to go clean the house. It's 7 o'clock, so it's time for me to get going. Sorry for the hair. It's morning. All right, bye, YouTube.